More devastation right here. All of it could have been prevented. All of it could have been prevented. Destruction here. Just gonna drive through the neighborhood, let you take a look at it. Look at the homes here. Even this house here, not near the hills, but they still got singed. The smoke damage. And then the embers catching fire. It's a beautiful home. This is such a beautiful place here, and it should never have happened. You could tell that that bush there got caught on fire right there. Getting rid of the smoke. There's fire damage. This house is completely damaged. There's Cal Fire. Now over here, they had a water. Did they have water in it? You imagine owning a house like this? There's the fire hydrant. Fire department shows up, plug it in, can't put the fire out. There's no water. And look at this. Man, this was a mega house too. Jeez. And right here, when the fire department ran here and they started plugging in their hoses, right here, there was no water. None. This could have all been prevented. Look at the damage. What they have done. Unbelievable. This was all preventative. All they needed was water. Unbelievable. Sir, look at the damage. This is a multi-million-dollar home destroyed. God. They have security. Homeowners have to hire security because of looters. You believe that? They already lost everything. And then in California, Newsom had the $950 and below, you don't go to jail, you just get a citation. Well, a lot of these stupid looters think that they can still do that. So they came over here and tried to do stuff, and they got caught. One guy had like $200,000 worth of stuff in his truck. It's just tragic. This is absolutely tragic. This should have never have happened. None of this should have happened. And look at the houses. This is a house. These are multi-million-dollar homes destroyed. And then everyone has to be upheavaled. And the day we have today, right now, it's beautiful out. we're going to have rain tomorrow, so they got to worry about the damage to the soil and having structural problems with the rain causing shifts in the ground to where the houses slide. Gavin Newsom could have stopped this by clear cutting. Forest management. Forest management was never done. They wanted to save a tree instead of protect houses. They wanted to save fish instead of have water here. And these people are working around the clock. These workers here are getting set up because of the rain. They're worried that it's going to be damaged. Look at that. So that now after the fires, they have to worry about landslides. So all of this was Newsom's problem. He should have never done any of this. We have people that are running our state that are a complete disaster. I mean, they knew about the fires coming on January 2nd, and yet our Mayor Bass, she was in Africa. They didn't have any water in the Palisades because it was drained about 11 months ago. So this is all just tragic. So anyway, out here, this is Crowjo. I'm out here at the Pacific Palisades. I just wanted to report what I saw, and what I saw is very sad. None of this should have happened. This fence, you can see how hot it burned. All of this was preventable. Quinones of the DWP, she makes $750,000 a year. She didn't have the water supply ready for them. So all these houses around here have extensive damage. And she makes $750,000 a year. Some houses did better than others. It's just tragic, their whole lives. I mean, you're talking, these are multimillionaires, celebrities, people with high-end jobs, doctors, lawyers. They never clear cut. They never clear cut anything. Newsom cut $100 million out of the budget. Bass cut $26 million out of the budget. They hired Crawley, who's a DEI hire, who sent out a couple fire engines, and they were 4 hours late. People were wondering, where are you? These people pay mega taxes. They're not even close to the taxes I pay. You're talking like 500, close to $1 million tax base, some of these people, and yet they didn't get the services provided. I don't know how is Newsom in power still? I don't get it. And then this house here survived. Right next door, they use stucco, and it looks like it's better design, but it shouldn't be that way either way. They build what they build, but if they would have clear cut, if the environmentalists here in California weren't so nuts, that fuel would not have burned. If they would have prepared and had all 40 fire department engines here, all 40 of them, but then again, there was no water. There was no water to help these people. And some people died. And now they're going to be sued, and then the taxpayers are going to bail it out. But I don't blame Trump when he comes here about, I don't want to give it to Newsom or Bass. I think they should give it to the homeowners. Let them rebuild. We have really bad leaders here in California. And this was man-made created. This should have never happened. Anyhow, Crowjo out.
Can you imagine all the fire insurance companies are leaving the state because environmentalists and the Sierra Club members are not wanting to clear cut, creating these massive fuels for this huge fire? We were warned about it on January 2nd, and the fire department, Crawley, did not send trucks out early. She didn't check for the DWP. They had no water. They had no water containers up on the hills. Those giant vats that they usually have filled, all were empty. You think during the biggest crisis, when the National Weather Service says there's a major fire hazard coming about, and there was no one in position to protect. The DWP, Quinones, who is the top person in there, is more concerned about the lens of equity instead of fires and water safety. Nothing was done. One of the reservoirs needed repairs, I guess a canvas tarp or whatever it might be, said it only takes a couple weeks to fix. It went on for a year, so they drained all the water for almost a year, and the fire department captain did not know that there was no water in the Pacific Palisades. Or if she did, she's incompetent, because what would you do if you were the fire department chief? For one, I would have ships with water pumps and hoses ready, on the ready. I would have in position when the National Weather Service said there's 100-mile-an-hour winds, I would have all trucks, all personnel out and ready. I would be clear cutting before the winds even hit. But none of that happened. Bass was in Guyana. She lied about saying she was on a military transport plane heading back, when that wasn't true. We could verify the photos and the watches and the time that she was in Guyana. She was at the party when the fires started to hit. So I don't like being lied to. Gavin Newsom cut $100 million out of the fire budgets throughout the state. We lost billions of dollars in EDD money, unemployment checks, the scams. So the state had a surplus, but now they're broke. They spent it on unemployment checks for foreign governments. 80% of the fraud of these billions of dollars went overseas. We have a high-speed rail that cost over $100 billion, possibly $200 billion. It goes from Merced to Bakersfield, and doesn't even have track. We don't even have a train yet, and it's just wasted money. But yet they cut the fire department and police. Police were cut back. They can't go out into the hills and clear the homeless encampments. The mayor doesn't want them harassing homeless people. But when you're doing drugs and drinking and you're out in the middle of nowhere, you have to start a fire to stay warm, and that could have happened. The power lines in SoCal Edison, most of them are up above ground, and they need to put them underground, which are starting to do because the lawsuits are so high. But we can't tell how these fires started. Was it an arsonist? Was it SoCal Edison? Was it an illegal with a blowtorch? We caught one of them. We caught an environmentalist woman in her 60s setting fires. We don't know how all these fires started. A lot of them we just don't know. And then when they get caught, they do very little time and they let them go. So insurance companies are leaving. And what does that do for the homeowners? Well, we're out of luck. A lot of those structures there in the Palisades may not be covered by fire insurance. So it is an absolute disaster, which will cost billions of dollars to rebuild. Gavin Newsom is already talking about, this is an opportunity. 2.0 Newsom, whatever. He wants to build condos, those little cubicles that the socialist governments want, to where you have, instead of the suburbs, which they are against, they want everybody to live in little cubicles and drive electric cars around. Well, all of it failed here in California. The environmentalists caused the biggest carbon output in Los Angeles history. Over, metric tons wise, I'm guessing maybe tens of thousands of metric tons. And it is all done by bad leadership throughout, the DEI hires to environmentalist wackos that just have gone too far. We can't even get a desalination plant here because of fish. We can't get Northern California water down to Southern California to have water because of fish. We have to use windmills for electricity, which kill birds and whales if they're out in the ocean. And this is just a perfect example of what happened with environmentalism, and it made the biggest environmental pollution in the history of Los Angeles. So anyway, let's get back to your video. Crowjo out.
In 1,000 feet, turn right onto Minorca Drive. In 1,000 feet, turn right onto
Yeah. They aren't allowing anybody in here. So they got police doing crowd control, military. Wow. So it's definitely getting ready for President Trump. I'm not sure if I'll even be able to get into video. The security is super tight here.
Hey, welcome to the Crowjo Show. I'm Crowjo, and today I was going to talk about the Pacific Palisades fires and wondered why there weren't any electric fire trucks there. Down in San Diego, they spent $2.1 million on an electric fire truck that lasted a month before it broke down. So, anyway, I was out at Pacific Palisades and I videotaped it, and you'll see the videos that I have. The big problem was the Delta smelt, the fish. Gavin Newsom was more concerned about the Delta fish than fire safety of the residents in Pacific Palisades. The DWP, Quinones, she had some problem with canvas cover or something and waited almost a year to repair it. And it should only take a couple weeks to repair, but she waited almost a whole year. And so the Pacific Palisades didn't have any of the giant water tanks up on the hill, and they had no water whatsoever to put out fires. While they live next to an ocean where they'd had seawater, seawater puts out fires. And they didn't have any long hoses, no ships with water pumps on it. And right next to the ocean, there were houses that burned. And it's just insane how bad the woke progressives run things in this state. It's only a one-party system. The Democrats run it, and it's a mess. The environmentalists and the Sierra Club and also the beach environmentalists won't allow for desalination plants because it might hurt fish. The clear cutting, the Sierra Club environmentalists do not want clear cutting, so it had this massive amount of fuel of grass, dead trees, leaves. It just all piled up, and then the perfect storm was the 100-mile-an-hour winds, which turned it into a blowtorch and burned things that normally wouldn't melt or burn, did in this fire, and destroyed multi-million-dollar homes. So there was absolutely no clear cut or forest management whatsoever in that entire area, and let alone there, but in all areas of California. They don't believe in clear cutting. You might hurt an endangered rodent or something. No one was ready for the fire. Karen Bass cut $26 million out of the fire department. Gavin Newsom cut $101 million out of the fire departments around the state, and no one was in position. Now, you would think that the National Weather Service, after stating on, this was January 2nd, that, hey, there's giant winds and a high fire warning. Well, none of the fire departments were out. You know, I would, if I were in charge of that, I would have fire trucks, all of them out. Nobody takes a break. Water, I would check with the DWP. Hey, did you get that water fixed? You know, Crowley never checked with the DWP on water, which shows why you don't DEI hire. Just because somebody's a feminist or a lesbian, that doesn't give you the right to have the top-notch job. The same with Quinones at the DWP, another woke hire. She was more concerned when I listened to her interview with the lens of equity, not fires, not water, what color you are on the outside. It doesn't matter. You need to have merit-based hiring and who's the best at the job. I don't want an airline pilot to be a woke DEI hire. I want the best person. I don't care what color they are. I just want them to be able to land the plane. I want the best surgeon by merit, not by what they look like or if they have a different sexuality type. It doesn't work. It should be merit-based, and I'm glad that DEI has kind of fallen off because it is discrimination, and it is very dangerous, and it ended up being very dangerous here. So with Quinones, who makes $750,000 a year, had no preparation. The mayor had no preparation. The fire department didn't have any preparation. When they did respond, it took them 4 hours to get out there and really set up the trucks. They had no water, and so sheer panic set in, and then they started bringing in water trucks, and it took too long to set up, and those winds were a-blowing and causing these massive fires. And the other thing is the early warning system was texting out to the wrong people. People that weren't in fire danger were getting texts from the city saying that you are in danger, you need to evacuate, which caused major panic. It would for me. I mean, I'd have to rush back home from work and go, I need to load stuff up and drive like a maniac out to try to save what I could. But that's why DEI hires are bad. The leadership, the woke progressives have proven that they have created the biggest environmental damage in Los Angeles history with these fires. They keep popping up. And then the homeless, we have a homeless crisis here, and they allow homeless to camp out. Well, when it gets cold and they're doing drugs and drinking, they don't put the fires out. They're not responsible people. And the police, since they defunded the police, they don't go out and try to get them out of those areas, the high fire areas. So any of the preventative things that should have been done were not done. And then I'm trying to think of the fire department cuts. Because of all the millions of dollars that were cut throughout the state, there were less people available to put this fire out. The National Weather Service on December 2nd said this is the most dangerous time for fires. And no one was in position. Fire trucks weren't in position. The water people were an absolute disaster. And that comes back to leadership. And when Trump came in, here's Trump here. Let's play a little bit of Trump here. Let's go here and let him talk.
You guys do. They have very high standards, I can tell you. And we took pictures with all of them, but very nicely they gave us a little helmet. And I said, you wear this, huh? Is this real? And they said, yeah. I said, it's awfully heavy. You have to be very strong to wear that. But that's the original, right? So it's pretty good. But I just want to thank everybody. We're going to be with you. Your governor met us at the plane, and we had a good talk. We'll take a look at that, actually.
Mr. President.
Take a look. Mayor, please.
Yes. First of all, let me just take the opportunity to officially welcome you to Los Angeles. Really appreciate you coming, and especially you come just a few days after your inauguration. So I want you to know that your presence here is very much appreciated. Let me also say that I know you had an opportunity to see the devastation. You've seen the extreme loss, the grief that people are going through here. And we are 100% committed to getting this neighborhood rebuilt again. You mentioned a couple of things in terms of us expediting. So I signed executive directives right away so that we could cut the red tape, we could get people back building as fast as possible, and we're going to continue doing that.
Yeah, the one thing is they are saying they will not be allowed to start for 18 months.
No, that will not be the case.
Okay, I just hope you're right.
You can hold me to it.
There's 4 groups said that.
No.
That would be they should be able to do it. They should be able to start tonight.
That will not be the case. You know, first we have to take care to make sure that there's not getting rid of the hazardous waste, cleaning things up so that people can start right away. And just like you said, if somebody their house was destroyed and they're going to rebuild essentially the same, maybe a little bit longer, a little bit higher, they really shouldn't have to go through much of a process. So I want you to know that we are expediting that. We absolutely need your help. We need the federal help. You're a
You've
builder.
got it, I told you. You will have no permit problem. There will be zero delay. And as far as I'm concerned, you already have the permits.
And the resource.
I am more worried, because I met at least 8 groups of homeowners, and I'm much more worried about the fact that they said it's 18 months exactly, and they were devastated. They want to start now. They want to start removing things. They're not allowed to do it now. And you mentioned hazardous waste. Well, the hazardous waste, what's hazardous waste? I mean, you're going to have to define that. We're going to go through a whole series of questions on determining what's hazardous.
Nope.
I just think you have to allow the people to go on their site and start the process tonight.
And we will.
Okay, good.
You can
Mr.
come back and check.
very
Mr. President,
Yes.
I'm Congressmember Judy Chu, and I represent the areas of Altadena and Pasadena.
Yes.
That's the Eaton fire, and there is a world of hurt there. I know that you've gone to the Palisades and you've
can
seen
see
the
in the meeting,
devastation,
right,
but it's a
that they were talking about permits, and Trump wants it. You go in now and get it, because when I went there to Palisades, and you'll see the videos there, they have to deal with looters and they have security people out there, but they caught one guy stealing about $200,000 worth of stuff, dressed up as a fireman, and you can't tell who might be doing what. That I couldn't agree more with President Trump that they need to clear immediately. No permits. Who gives a shit about, whether or not it's hazardous waste or not? They'll clean it up and get it out of there. But you already proven yourself, Mayor Bass. You're a disaster. You're the one who caused this, and you want to delay homeowners from clearing after your mess. That you should have had everything set and ready. Those fire trucks should have been out there on January 2nd when the National Weather said high winds, dangerous fire conditions. Nothing was done. You didn't check with the DWP, which is totally incompetent. The best way to find DWP, a lot of people, is go to strip clubs, because a lot of the trucks are there. They don't do their job. They'll work for maybe 4 hours, and there's no accountability. I've seen people that do such a crappy job in Los Angeles, and it's so corrupt. It is unbelievably corrupt and inept. I'm just glad I'm away from it. And when I look at the DWI hires, people that have no business being in these positions, but because of what they look like on the outside, they get the job. Bass was in Africa at the time, and then she lied about saying, once I was told, I was immediately on the plane and in contact with all the people there, when that was a lie. She was at the party, because photographs show the watches, and people were able to calculate, well, when the fires are going on, you were staying at a party and rubbing elbows with the people in Guyana, and not heading back. And I just don't like being lied to. And it's like duck and cover and lie and misrepresent. The looting was really bad. They had thousands of people going in looting, and police and National Guard came in, but everything was too late. The fire department was too late. Security was too late. The setups, the whole thing was just a massive screw up. And it goes to show, with everything in this state is run by one party, whether it's public education or fire safety, crime, borders, illegal migrants. It's just a major F show the whole way through. But that's what I have here, and we'll go to the videos right now, and I'll show you what I've got. All right, take care. Let me shut this off.